Daily Graphic starts us off. Says first licensure exam, 7,432 teachers fail, 21,287 make it. Al arrest decline in value of CD. Precedent. Police invite NDC national chairman over leaked tape. Minister charges new managers of ECG to keep to KPIs or get kicked out. The Daily Statesman. Samuel Ofuswampofo, in his own words, a transcript of the NDC national chairman's shocking tape. Explosive tape exposes NDC evil plot. Communicators sweat in desperate damage control. Ofuswampofo must resign, says the MPP. Daily Guide will arrest Dollar. Leaked tape. NDC plots to kidnap, smears and insults for 2020. Take NDC threats seriously. That's Yao Boabinga Samoa, is the communications director of the MPP. No light bill increment till June. Mami Dufio for promises. My guest this morning, Richard Ahiagba, is a Deputy Communications Director of the MPP. Rich, good morning. Thank you for your time. And the Honorable Alasan Suyin is the MP for Tamale North. Chief, good morning, Alaji. How are you doing?
Good morning. Very well. Hope you're well too.
The weather is cold out there,
yeah.
So you've got to be careful. Anyway, yes, it's cold out there. Yeah, it's cold. But what we know around here is cold.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a visa and a passport.
No.
It's,
Because
it's okay to say this is not cold.
No, not really. Just that I'm feeling hot. That's why.
You are feeling hot.
Yes.
Why are you feeling hot? Is it because of the Galamsey video or the leaked tape?
No, because the temperature in the country has gone very high up.
I see.
Seeing the machinations of the NDC against our own country, that should cause anybody's temperature to go high.
We'll go there.
Yes.
Let's first of all talk about the power distribution service. Tomorrow they start work. A question that hit my mind is that, well, we gave Aqua Vitens runs the chance to run our Ghana Water Company for about 5-6 years. What were the dividends that we got? And what difference will this make, considering the fact that ECG's major problem at the time was their inability to collect most of the money that was owed for them? Indeed, Anas Arimaya had put out an expose to say the names of companies that owed huge amounts of money. People were illegally connecting power and all of that. So what difference will this PDS make, if you care to share? Eastern region, Central, Western, Greater Accra, and parts of the Ashanti region. What difference will it make?
Well, good morning to you and to my brother who apparently is not feeling well, and to your viewers. Good morning to the President. Yesterday was in my constituency to commission one district, one factory tile company. It was a great moment, even though I wasn't there. I had to be at the party office for a press conference. I'm told that it was a very successful event. And I commend him for that leadership that is led to some of this development. About 1,500 people are working at that company, and we hope that it will expand and get more people employed. And so thank you, Mr. President, and the government for the leadership in that regard. PDS, I think it's a good thing. We all know the challenges ECG face. Not that it can't do it, but it's more maybe it's a capacity issue, it's commitment issue, it's discipline issue, it's a management orientation issue. Could be a number of things that is made them to be not able to perform the way they must perform to recover revenues that they must recover. So this arrangement, I think that if this is anything to go by our past, should guide us in getting into this. And I think I was very consoled and happy when I saw the Honorable Minister for Energy, Peter Amewu, saying that he is going to keep a close eye on them to ensure that they perform to the indicators that they've all agreed on as a standard of performance. So I take solace in that, knowing that not only are we aware, given our history, that some of these things we went into them with high hopes and the outcome were not exactly satisfactory. Based on that, I think we are going to be even more careful, and I think that informed the processes through the compacts that they've gone through to ensure that this time all of us will be committed. And I'm happy the minister is focused on it. All of us are going to be focused. I invite the media to also engage through the process, and then we'll see in the end what we all get from it, because the benefit accrues to all of us. So let's all be engaged and ensure that they are successful, and wish them well.
At the end is the ordinary Ghanaian who would pick up his the credit card to want to go and buy refill ahead for it. And I've been ranting about it that, look, I go and buy prepaid units for my meter. So ECG technically owes me money because they are holding
at
my
that
money.
Point, yes.
100 Ghana cedis
until you
or
spend
200. Yes. And then the light goes off. Nobody tells me anything. And they are holding on to my money. That's disrespect.
Yes, as a consumer right.
Will this change?
Well, I hope it does. I hope it does. They'll be more responsive, knowing that probably that could affect their performance and probably extension of whatever arrangement they have. But consumer activism in Ghana is very low, and that emanates from all of us not being engaged continuously. We get our attentions focused on a thing, and then we depart after a little while. But if we're engaged to say that this is, something that we care about, because if it doesn't affect me today, it will affect me tomorrow. So I want it to be there when the time comes. I think all of us can make the system work better. Okay. This is not a government issue. This is about people working and being able to stay on their jobs. So I think that with that, all of us, when we engage, and we can really engage them when time comes to ensure that they are delivering, not only making sure that whatever efficiency parameters they have established for themselves, but also to ensure that we, the customers, are getting value for the money we're spending with them.
Alhaji, for the next 20 years, PDS will be in charge of power supply. ECG will be an asset holding company in there, but their main task is to produce more and to make sure that we are profitable. Do you see that happening, especially on the backdrop that ECG, and again I say, weren't able to collect all that they had to collect, which is why they kept running in debt? And even as of now, a lot of households don't have the new meters. So the postpaid meters are still there, the prepaid meters are there. There's that fine line that we have not been able to draw. Do you think that we're going to be able to make this progress of productivity and profitability?
Once again, good morning to you and good morning to Richard. And let me say good morning to our viewers as well, especially constituents of Tamale North. It's always a pleasure to represent you. I will first of all say that I have my reservations, but also to add that I am not one who is very well briefed on the subject of the private-public partnership that have been talked about in relation to, the need to upgrade the delivery in terms of performance of our power sector. I'm not very much briefed, but what I do know is that experience is there to guide us, and I'm happy when you started this discussion you made reference to Aquavitans, who came with that same idea and noble intentions, and in the end left our Ghana Water Company worse than it came to meet it. And even if you look at it, at least I have seen a document in relation to the NETCO area and the arrangements that have been put in place. And clearly there are examples of such arrangements failing in Tanzania, Namibia, Mozambique, and such countries. And so when you know these things, you are expected to be cautious in the expectations you have of some of these arrangements. And clearly, the arguments that have been made, to me, sometimes even suggest that the processes have not really been followed, transparently enough to assure us that the best, among those who showed interest is actually getting the deal. There have been talks of how some of the processes, have been sidestepped and sometimes just cancelled and, reduced to like frefre kobo, call your friends to come and put in bids and all that. So apart from the history of these arrangements being unimpressive in the past, when you look at the processes that have also been questioned, used to arrive at the current manager, you begin to wonder if it is not going to just even be worse. Then again, the question of how much really we are getting from the Compact 2, you know, and whether it is necessary for us to engage in these arrangements merely because of the Compact 2.
Senior Minister says if you don't keep to the KPIs, we'll kick you out. KPI is that you be productive and profitable. Very clear mandate, which will make us get more.
Those are the rhetorics we have heard before. In the Aqua Vitans thing, we heard it, that will kick you out. Later, the people of Ghana had to demonstrate, you know, and workers teaming up to get the contract, you know, after its expiry, not to be renewed. So as for those talks, they don't give me any satisfaction. I think that it is okay for us to have reservations. Reservations do not mean we wish them bad. We actually will expect that they prove us wrong, because we all want our power situation to improve. We want to have a situation where, you know, the transmission of power record less losses than it currently does. And, you know, it is readily available, not just to support domestic use, but also to support industrial, you know, use at very affordable rates. That's what the Ghanaian wants generally. So if their work will lead to that, it's all well and good. But I'm just saying, given the circumstances of how they have been chosen and the experience of other, you know, similar arrangements, I tend not to be too excited and expectant of good results. And I talked about the Compact 2 and whether it is enough for us to even make some of these concessions that we have made in these arrangements. I mean, some people have made the argument that if you look at what we have been getting from even Japan, JICA and others, in terms of the infrastructure that they help us to build in the power sector, I mean, shouldn't we rather even be having such talks with them instead of this one? Because sometimes the thinking is that this is all just cooked for some American, you know, businessmen in the power sector.
But we've gone beyond that stage.
To come and, you know, rip from our farms.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that the process started in 2014, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, the compact was. Yeah, I'm speaking generally. I mean, the compact I think was in August 2014, and it came into effect in 2016. But right after 2016, especially when the new government came into power, a number of things have been reviewed. In fact, some of the workers have expressed concern about why even those reviews had to take place after the compact had already come into effect in September 2016. And so they didn't think, you know, those reviews were even in line with what they were made to believe, that once the compact kicks in, some of these, you know, things will not be reviewed again. So I'm saying that the processes that have led to the choice of company to, you know, carry out this management does not give me, because it hasn't been transparent enough. It hasn't been that foolproof enough. And the history of these managements also.
Let's talk about the cedi now, Richard. I'll start with you. The president said that he will arrest the decline in the value of the cedi. He made that statement yesterday. He touts the low levels of inflation. He touts the ease of doing business since he came to power. But nonetheless, he acknowledges that the cedi is not doing well before major trading currencies and that he will arrest it. But on the back of that, the vice president earlier had told us that the cedi had been arrested and the key had been given to the IGP. And the IGP nodded on that occasion. So what is it? Arrest, re-arrest, wanting to arrest, warrant of arrest? What is it?
Hughes, on the matter of ECG and the concession matter, I think I choose to be optimistic.
Okay. But you made that clear. Let's go. We have very little time.
Do we have time to talk about
We're talking
what is
city.
raising my temperature today? Because
No, we'll talk about,
Okay,
so let's
okay.
not do back and forth.
Okay.
Let's do the CD.
All right.
I'm asking you arrest, re-arrest, warrant of arrest, bench warrant, what is it? Because the vice president said he's been arrested. The president agrees that there's a problem. Even though inflation is low, even though ease of business is easy and is good now, and he says we're working towards making sure that interest rates are brought down further so that businesses can survive and thrive, but the city is not looking good.
look, Hughes, the city has always struggled, and all of us know why. Okay.
Was that the reason the president didn't mention it in the State of the Nation address?
No. I mean, there are a number of things I can sit here and tell you that the president could have mentioned,
Okay.
but he just don't have the space and time to mention everything.
Okay.
You understand? So it's always been that they mention the key things that they want to highlight, and I think the State of the Nation is just perfect. Address is just perfect. The city issue, I'm telling you, all of us know. There is no magic in economics. The numbers are clear. Where the numbers are headed, we know. If we are overly dependent on import,
Okay.
which we are, these are the inevitable outcome and the negative effect of what we experience. Because then we are chasing all these foreign currencies to be able to meet our demands at home. So that's a fact that we need to work on. Now, if you look at the MPP, for the same period of time that we have been in office, the decline compared to what we experienced under the administration before, the difference is very clear. We're talking about 44% or so, in contrast with 15% to date. So that is not to say that we accept the situation to be that, but it's proper to draw that contrast. Now, going forward, what we need to do, and what the MPP administration is doing, which is directly in line with the policies we promised we're going to give Ghanaians. And that's why you have a vice president confident that we can achieve that objective, but it's a matter of time at this point. Or you have one district.
How much time?
How much time is relative?
You have 4 years.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I'm saying it's relative because he saw that immediately we came into office, things stabilized. Okay, that's the point. He told you that is arrested and locked under key. Even though I'd see that to be not an issue to focus on, but that's part of the discussion.
that was the head of the economic management
No,
team
I'm saying that the part of
saying
it
that the CD had been arrested.
Well, I'm telling he's arrested relative to the fact that he has stabilized. That's what he meant. So they arrest, and I think we make light of it when we do so. But the point he was making, in essence, is that the city has stabilized from where we were when we came into office, which was a fact.
But following that, Richard, after the vice president made that statement, we've seen a further decline of the city.
That's an issue.
Now the city has gone beyond 5 cities, and it's still going. If you check this morning, you see the rates.
Okay, so that's exactly why the president says we're taking steps. Okay, and you see, okay, what we need to have, the discussion we need to have, is why is this thing happening?
You tell me.
That's what I'm telling you. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
What is wrong? What is going wrong? Tell me.
The why is, and it has been a situation that we need to deal with, is that our overdependence, on importation is the key issue here. And then so you ask yourself, what can we do about it? And the government comes into office and say, look, we need to move from production, or we need to move from consumption to production, so that we can balance our import exchange mix, our import export mix. And this is where you are headed with the creation or the concept of one district, one factory. And I just told you that in my constituency, Katamanso, yesterday, we launched a one district, one factory tile manufacturing company, which is going to help further that agenda. So it's about how we can become more productive. If that happens, then we will get to the point. So
at what speed? You see, that's the what speed? Because one district, one factory. At the time you made that promise, we had only 216 districts. Now the number of districts have increased, and we're still seeing, it's in its tottering stages.
No, you see,
it's worrying.
No.
Does it not worry you?
You see, if you and I, are engaged in the pursuit of life, what is worrying is whether our steps or the focus of our life is headed in the right direction or in the wrong direction. So where we are now, things are headed in the right direction.
The president said he's upset.
Forget
About
just listen.
No, I'm not forgetting.
Just
The
listen
president-
to.
How can I forget what the
No,
president said?
please. Let's be serious about this. What I'm trying
So
to
the
tell you, this
president
is
is not
no,
serious?
no. I'm just relaxed. What I'm telling you is that this is economics.
Okay.
And you know that in your own life, as fast as you want to advance, even in your career here, you are limited by time and by the factors that affect your rise.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about. When the president says he wants to do something about it, just yesterday he went to commission a factory that would help us move closer to that, because when we are producing, we are less reliant. You understand?
That's a
So
tiny,
just
that's a
hold-
tiny weeny bit.
You know how much tiles?
of the bigger picture.
Please, just relax. Let me tell you this thing. When you know how much tiles we import into this country, do you know? You have any idea in terms of the dollar volume that we import?
And that factory,
now we
and
have
that
a
factory
factory.
will solve the problem of importation. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's what, just relax. I mean, you and I were engaged in finding the fact.
Right.
So I'm telling you that this here is going to help us.
So
Whether
I'm
or
just
not-
asking the
No, no,
questions.
but you know that. But the point is, if it's 1% that is going to take off, don't you think that we can actually agree that that 1% will be an appreciation of the city by 1%? So that's the effort. So the question you need to ask is that what are we doing to address the issue? And I will tell you that we are focused on this. And just yesterday, we took a step forward to ensure that we get to the point where the city will remain stable. So that if you and I are engaged in this conversation, we're going to say, so after commissioning a one district, one factory company in Kpong-Katamanso that is manufacturing tiles, what next? That we can say, let's take a step forward. And we'll talk to my brother here. Hold on 1 second. Talk to my brother here who is in parliament to say, why don't we get to a place where we debate the importation of tiles? Can I just finish?
No, I'll let you finish, because the presidency put out a map of Ghana indicating where raw materials are and where factories can be sited. I remember that very well. I think it was in 2017. A full map, a comprehensive map of Ghana, showing what raw materials there are. So Adaklu had, a bit of clay that we would use for pottery, gari here, this here, that here. I saw that myself. We sent and we put it up here. Fast forward and down the lane, how many factories are we be able to put up? Ever since we saw that the city was declining, and that the policy we needed to put in place was to have one district, one factory, one village, one dam, planting for food and jobs and all of that. How many factories do you have? You keep making reference to Kpong-Katamanso, but it would help if we broaden the conversation and say, these are the stream of factories we have, and this is how much is contributing to make the city stable.
Here's, if we as a people expect politicians to be serious, okay, or our leaders to be serious, we the people ourselves must be serious. Because the conversation you and I are having, I know you are trying to ask the question for your viewers to follow, but then you must make an assumption of an understanding of what we are doing here. If the government puts up a map of all the areas and the resources that we have and where districts can be sited, taking advantage of what they have in abundance, then that's part of the information people need to say, oh, I didn't know that Adaklu had this. Now that we know Adaklu has a deposit of clay, what are the options? What are the utilities of that deposit? That's part of the one district, one factory information that we need. Let's also understand, okay, once we expect government to move this agenda forward, we should understand that government is not going to cite a China ware factory in Adaklu. It is for us to see the availability of it. Hitherto, people probably didn't know. I didn't know about that. Okay, that the deposit of so and so is in Adaklu. Now that government, based on this policy, has made that awareness known to us, then we in the private sector, based on the framework of the one district, one factory, the support that is the funding and all the other logistics support that is available, individuals can move into.
Where is the money?
Government,
because the individual goes to the bank, he can't borrow. He's an importer and exporter. He decides to stop. The CD with which he uses to trade is not strong before the dollar and the pound and the euro.
Listen, I just told you.
So we come back to the same point.
We're not back to the same point. I just told you.
Okay, wrap up for me. Let's really have a bite.
Allowed me
I've allowed you enough time.
But you just keep interjecting.
Because I need to understand.
No. no. If you listen, you understand. The questions actually disallow you from understanding. The story is straight. The point is that government cannot go and build any factory. Even my brother, who is a socialist leaning, will agree that no government would go based on the fact the proposal of one district factory to go and build factory. It will not. It will not happen anywhere because all of us know that government is not good at doing business. What government can do is to facilitate. What government can do is to show the direction and lend policy weight to that direction. That's what this government is doing with the one district, one factory. The framework is there. I told you about the commissioning yesterday, and I'm telling you about a paint factory in the Volta region that is also in the works. So we are getting to a place where that paint factory I'm telling you in the Volta region probably will not be springing up because of this this policy.
Thank you.
The person is moving in that direction. So please
let
ourselves understand that we are building this country together, but no government is coming to just build.
Do we have a timeline for the arrest of the city?
You see?
Okay.
If you are building one factory at a time, please. Let me just.
I'm okay.
Oh, let me just conclude.
No, I'm okay. You're going back to the same.
No, that's not fair.
Sweeney, step in for me. No, Richard.
You ask a question,
but you can't give me an answer.
No. That's not fair.
You couldn't give me the number of factories that we have up and running now.
Yes.
You haven't given me that answer.
Really?
You haven't given me an answer for a timeline for when the CD will regain its consciousness. You haven't given me that.
But that is a question. Let me ask that question.
We'll go back and forth. Sweeney, step in for me now. The arrest of the CD is back again, and I've noted that it wasn't present in the State of the Nation address.
Right.
And I thought that was most critical to be mentioned because our economy revolves around our money and we didn't have it. Now the president says, I will arrest it because I'm upset and anxious about it.
You know, I am of the view that what the NPP does better than the NDC is talk a whole lot of things that really don't matter. You know, but do very little. He spent a lot of time on ceramic factory at Paul. Johnny, I'm just going to share a story with you. It's dated August 2016. Newly constructed multi-million-dollar ceramic factory in Ghana located at the Free Zones Enclave in Sekondi is expected to commence production by the end of August 2016. The $100 million project will manufacture toilet bowls, floor tiles, among other ceramic products. This was supervised by a government that didn't promise one district, one factory. But it was delivered. But it's not about the noise.
But you can't take anything away from them for putting up that factory as well.
Which factory?
The factory at Katamanso.
They inherited it. It also started in 2016, and they know it already was you know, in the works. And they know
that's not true.
That it is when they gave you that will. Did you see ceramic factory in Po?
No.
So
what
I'm telling you, you did a pie chart or a wheel where you identified the districts and the factories you were going to put there. That ceramic factory was already there.
No.
It was already in the works.
Richard, if you have reservations,
if
you have reservations,
please don't. Like I was taking
don't do that to me.
Richard, I wasn't interjecting when you were talking.
I'm not
so please,
please.
So the point about one district, one factory has become a fiasco. Even what's the name of that fruit producing company? Marmalade or they have all become marmalade. They have all become one district, one factory. Pure Joy we have been drinking all these years have become one district, one factory. That is the deception. That's the dishonesty that this government is
are you putting so much pressure on government to fulfill the promises that they made to the people of Ghana, which will, like Richard says, the factories will be there, the planting for food and jobs, all those policies will help the CD to regain
It is not strength. For me to do that. I think that you are more qualified to even do that than I am. As opposition and as a member of parliament, yes, I have the right to play my oversight role and hold the government to account, especially to account to the people about the promises that they made to the people. But as members of the fourth estate of the realm, you equally have that same responsibility. So I am inviting you to join me to ask on behalf of the people that they must deliver the promises they made. But it was interesting that you also took note of the fact that the president, after spending about 14 chapters, the longest dedicated to a particular economy in his State of the, a particular sector in his State of the Nation address, was shy to mention the city and the performance
there was no time
of the city.
To mention that.
I'm saying that he dedicated 14 chapters to the economy. If you pick his State of the Nation address, 14, and it's the longest that he has spent in the State of the Nation address on any sector. But the performance of the city against the international currencies was unable to find space in the 14 chapters. Why? Because I am sure that the president, even as he painted a glossy picture of the economy, had at the back of his mind the theory that was propounded by his vice president. And I'll share the theory with you before you ask your question.
Inflation is low, ease of doing business is good, bank rates have dropped.
Fine.
So there's something to applaud.
Fine. That's what I'm saying. The president, in painting that picture that you are just reminding me of, had at the back of his mind the theory that his vice president
what's
propounded.
The theory?
He is an economist, a doctor. And we're told that such people, when they speak, you should keep quiet and listen. And his theory was simple, that you can do propaganda with the economy however you want, and that the performance of the city against international currencies will expose the weak fundamentals. Period. End of story. That was the theory. So, inflation being low, GDP growing, and all of that at the time, Dr. Bawumia told us, if you spoke of that and made noise about that, the city's performance was going to expose your fundamentals. And that is what the president had at the back of his mind.
Has the minority helping the government to help the city to rise?
Really? Seriously?
I'm just asking.
What we can do is what we have been doing on the floor of the House. For example, we cautioned them when they were touching the ESLA. We cautioned them when they brought the income tax. They didn't listen. They have come back to take it away. We cautioned them when they were bringing the luxury vehicle tax. I'm sure in the next budget it will also go away because they are seeing the effect. These are some of the things that make it worse for people to even function in the economy. My brother sits here and he tells us that, oh, as for the city performance, we all know what causes it. Is it not incompetence? Is it not incompetence? If we all know, that's what we're all told. What has changed? Because all the things he's professing today, the former president and his government said those things about imports, about, some of the consumptions of Ghanaians being... They said no, it was incompetence. So what has changed? Why is he now professing a different, reason why the city is performing? They need
time to do this.
No, have they repented?
They need time.
Did they lie? Were they
time.
being dishonest?
They need time to do this.
No, I'm saying let us ask them those questions. If they are telling us today that they have different reasons apart from incompetence, then they need to at least admit to us that they were dishonest in the first place.
Have you given them enough time to prove themselves?
Well, I am surprised that after 2 years, in fact, before even that, the vice president was, very ecstatic when he told us they had arrested it. The president, just like me and you, or you and I, is only anxious and upset. Anxious and upset. I am supposed to be, you are supposed to be upset and anxious about the performance of the city, not the president. He should be giving you and I hope.
The president feels your pain. That's why he's anxious and upset as well.
He should not be anxious in the face of such, hardship to the business community. And it's important that we put it in perspective.
You see, wrap up from this so we can move on.
If you had a capital of 5,000 Ghana cedis at the beginning of this month, February, and you used to import whatever you sell, either dock chains or whatever, with the 5,000 Ghana cedis. The month hasn't ended. The capital of 5,000 Ghana cedis will now be around 4,300 Ghana cedis. I'm saying if you had 50 million old cedis that you used to import goods with at the beginning of February, February hasn't ended. You have already lost 7 million. So you now have, I mean, that's 43 million old cedis. So you now have 70 million lost.
That's 4,300. Let's put it that way.
4,300.
We're in present
No, you see, the market people who trade.
We are in present
The market, if you go to the market, they still speak the local economy. Okay. They still talk about the old city. So I'm saying if you had 43 million, you would have lost 7 million. Is it 7 million or 70 million?
It's about 7 million.
Yeah, 7 million.
7 million.
You would have lost 7 million. Yes. You would have lost about 7 million, just like that. Without, and it doesn't come from your pricing. Okay. I mean, you haven't done anything. You just lose it as a result of the performance of the city.
So
that is how bad this situation is. And the president cannot only be anxious and upset.
I thank you very much.
He must be showing us the way
to
addressing this problem.
Thank you very much. Richard, yesterday...
can I just make some correction?
Yes, quickly. 30 seconds.
Okay. Is it much of everything my brother talked about is sentimental?
Quickly to the point.
It has no fact. Okay. Yes, he has no economic fact. You should have asked him what was the rate of depreciation under them. It's significant for him to tell us if he's moralizing to us about what is happening today. We are saying, he quoted the former, the vice president about the city, the performance of the city exposing you. At the heart of that statement is the policy direction you are headed. So you can come and paint a glossy picture for us as NDC that your economy, you are doing well. Excuse me, let me land for you, that you are doing well. But if your policy direction is not giving us the indication that over time you are going to get us to that destination, you are going to be exposed. That is the balance of that statement.
Thank you.
So for now, you can make the same assertion about the former vice president.
The point is well
no, it's not. You don't understand.
No, I understand.
Well, your viewers must understand.
Well,
please. You can take that from my time. It's very important.
We don't have a lot of time. That's why I keep saying we don't have a lot of time. And when I give you time,
we will.
Let's go. Now, but yesterday the police CID invited the national chairman.
So if you gag me from saying what I'm supposed
the national
to say,
chairman,
that's not okay.
The national chairman, the national chairman of the NDC yesterday was invited. The Criminal Investigations Department yesterday of the Ghana Police Service invited the national chairman of the NDC, Mr. Samuel Ofusompofu, to report at the CID headquarters in Accra at 9 a.m. today to help with investigations. The invitation follows comments purported to have been made by the chairman on an alleged audio recording of his voice, which is currently in circulation on various media platforms, including social media. According to the CID, although there were others on the tape, the police wanted Mr. Ofusompofu to appear first to have a discussion with the CID. Meanwhile, the NDC has described as concocted and false the alleged audio recording purported to be the voice of Mr. Ofusompofu, talking about what led the party's decision to withdraw its polling agents from the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election on 31st December 2019, among others. It also goes on to make suggestions. Yesterday, your party had a press conference. Take a bite on this quickly. I'm sure you heard the tape. What's on your mind at this point?
I am sickened, and I should invite my brother to talk with the same fervor that he was talking earlier about this. This is sickening, absolutely sickening. The worst part of it is that there is a grand agenda by the NDC to try to defend and speak their way out of this, apart from the simple and the honest thing to do to say, this is wrong. We've been found out, and this will never happen again. And perhaps, I don't know, but for him to take responsibility for it, the chairman I'm talking about.
Okay.
How is it that we're sitting in this country? The NDC was flagging for everybody's attention that Ayawaso West Wogon was this, was that, was this. When in reality, they were the one who were the undercurrents operating to ensure what happened, unfortunately, did happen. I knew this from beginning. Most of our party people knew this. They had brought people.
Why didn't you go to the police?
Huh?
If you knew it?
No, from when the issue happened. I'm not saying I knew before it happened.
Okay.
But the intelligence people knew, and they said they picked the intelligence, what they were planning.
Okay.
But I'm saying that when Ayawaso happened, whilst I was at my police station, I knew this was the doing of the NDC. Because look, very, very honestly, MPP, that is not our nature. And especially in that constituency, where we knew, where we campaigned, where we labored to ensure we win the election, we were not the ones to go there and create mayhem to mar the election that we are prepared for. The NDC didn't prepare for that election. The only way out they had was what they did. Now, the security agencies may have overreacted in trying to coil the mayhem they were bringing from Tamale to the place. That's one thing that we have to understand. Okay. But the NDC was at the heart of that. And this tape reveals that. And I am saying that somehow, somebody was telling me this, and it was in jest. The person said he feels that God is MPP or something, or God is Ghanaian. Because right in the middle of us trying to find out what is gone wrong in Ayawaso, for that to happen, the NDC are speaking exactly to it. Can you imagine a chairman of a party saying it was a mind game? Okay,
they say the tip is doctored.
Forget about that. Look, Hughes, in this country, this president led under the presidency of His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor to repeal the criminal libel law for a reason. And you, the media, must be emboldened to talk. This thing about his doctorate and you are afraid to speak to the fact, this is our country. And when things are going wrong, we should be bold to speak to it. What is doctored about it? Are you serious? Now, who is making the argument and what is he saying on the tape? He talked about we pulled out from the election for tactical reason. Who can be speaking that way? Who called for the election's withdrawal? Who is justifying his action? Who was suffering the opposition of his own people to say that, why did you pull us out from the election? Is it not the chairman of the NDC? Why is it doctored? Who doctored it? For what reason? Give us the undoctored one then, if that's doctored. You understand? So at the end of the day, I am saying that we should get to a point where this morning I am not speaking to you as a member of the MPP. I'm speaking to you as a Ghanaian because I have a young daughter in the house and you probably has a family. My brother has a family. And we sit here and we have individuals for their selfish reason to attain power in this country. And I want to lay this squarely at the doorstep of the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, unless he comes out to disassociate himself from this and to say that that's not the NDC he wants to lead. I am saying that is reprehensible, it's unacceptable, it's nation-wrecking, and we all Ghanaians must stand up and talk against this thing. The police, I am saying
that the police CID has invited the chairman to appear first. Do you think it will go anywhere?
Well, it should go anywhere. It should go everywhere, and you and I should make sure it goes wherever it must go. Because this is our country. Forget about my party. Forget about his party. Let's talk about Ghana. Okay. And we understand that, look, things that happen in other places just didn't happen overnight. These are some of the machinations. These are some of the culture and the thinking that split people apart and create a situation that makes it fertile for bad things to happen. Right. And I said the NDC should bow their head in shame. They know what they are doing, and what they are doing is not good for Ghana.
Thank you, Richard. You know, Suhuyini, your party has come out to say that the tape is fake, it's doctored, and that it is from the MPP's camp. But some say the voice is clear, and they could hear Elder Ofosu-Ampofo voice in there, and that the things he said are despicable. And he shouldn't have said them at all. What do you say?
I'm going to start by urging everyone who wants the truth about this matter to find the tape and listen and make up his own mind. I mean, the people of Ghana are not stupid. But if you listen to the NPP especially, you will miss the point, because some of the things that they attribute to the chairman of the MPP, I've not even heard on the tape. Kidnapping of children and all that. So if you follow them, you will miss the point.
But it is
not about whether the tape is being doctored or not doctored. It is about the people of Ghana listening to it and listen to the MPP and see whether the things they are saying about it are really on the tape.
To the tape.
That is the first thing.
I heard about endorsement for the taking the EC boss to the cleaners.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard about National Peace Council.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, so listen. What didn't Kennedy Agyapong and other members of the MPP say about the former EC?
Condemnation and equalization.
No. You see, let's be assuming without admitting.
Right.
assuming without admitting, that the NDC goes to a party communication meeting and decide to take the EC chair to cleaners. Is it the first time a party has done that?
Is it right?
No, is it the first time?
Is it right?
So should we split heads
Is it
over
right?
it? Should we split over
Is
heads
it
over
right?
it? No. It is only condemnable if we all agree to condemn the first one. You don't let the first one say it has gone, so let's move on. But you shouldn't do it.
We're
No.
going to do that.
If we did not condemn the first one, then we will have no moral justification to condemn the second one.
Which is the
But
first
I'm saying
one?
the first one was the way the EC chair was taken to the cleaners. I'm saying if another party in opposition decides that they are also going to adopt that same method, who are you to condemn them when you didn't condemn the first one? Who are you?
The police
But
has
you see,
invited
that is not
the
even my
chairman.
that is not my crass. That's not the crass of my matter, Johnny. For me, I want to agree with my brother that some things are sickening in this country. Very sickening. I'm happy you and I have done your job before.
Right.
I sit here today and I am sick in my stomach that some colleagues of mine, when I was in this business, made me feel I was doing an unethical thing by playing leak tapes. And it makes me sick that today they are jumping over themselves to play leak tapes and discuss us on their platforms. When I played leak tapes of Buguri Nabo talking about how they were going to chase Afoko out, even before it happened, I was said to be unethical on Radio Gold. When I played leak tapes about, Kofi Juma and the things he said, I was said to be unethical, and that it was unethical journalism. It's sickening that those same people today are jumping over themselves, transcribing leak tapes on their platforms. It's sickening. Again, it is sickening that Mrs. Adudankwa, I'm talking about the CID boss. Mrs. Adudankwa, that's her name, Mrs. Adudankwa, is today minded to investigate leak tapes. When her own tape came out, what investigation has she done? Where is the report of the investigation of her own tape? Didn't she deny it? Didn't she say it was doctored? Was her saying so enough? Today, she's minded. And the curious thing is that the letter inviting even the chairman gets to the media before the chairman. Why are we bastardizing our institutions like that? So I agree with him. It's sickening. Why are we bastardizing our state institutions? In that tape of Mrs. Adudankwa.
Is the politician complicit?
In that tape of Mrs. Adudankwa, you remember what she said to A+, that her duty is to make the president look good.
Okay.
Why are we bastardizing our state institutions
Thank you very
like
much.
that?
I think I agree with both of you.
So for me, people should listen to the tape themselves.
I think I agree
and
with
then
you.
make up their minds about whether what the MPP is saying are contained in the tape is really true, and whether it is anything
Alasan
that
Suhidi
they
is
should
the member of
split heads
parliament for
over.
Tamale North. I thank you very much, and Richard Ahiagba, most grateful for your time. He's a member. Shake hands with me. What's it? Yes.
But I'm
thank you.
disappointed.
He's the
I'm not going to
MPP's
talk
deputy
about-
director of
no,
Quad.
no, no.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. But I agree with both gentlemen. The politicians are our biggest problems in this country. They say one thing, and then when the table switches, they say another thing. Beware of politicians. If they come calling you to go and cause trouble, take care of yourselves.